We will now call the meeting to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will now recess the regular city council meeting at 5:30 to conduct a public hearing on the proposed vacation of city right-of-way located near Norman Avenue. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak for or against this matter? Is there anyone, if somebody wants to talk, yeah, step up there and state your name and address.
I'm Jonathan Brenny. I'm the property owner at 621 Norman Avenue North. Yeah, I'm for it. Obviously, I don't want to have an alley going through the middle of my house. So that's all I have. So yeah, I'm for it based off of what I received in the mail and what I read through. So.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for or against this matter? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for or against this matter? Okay, at 6:32, we will reconvene the regular city council meeting.
5:32.
About 5:32.
5:32.
If I could.
Is there a motion adopting resolution 2022-02 to vacate right-of-way?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Council,
Motion carried. Sarah?
I just wanted to let the council know, I just want to thank Mr. Brenny because he was very helpful in us trying to get this cleaned up. And we want to make sure, there's a lot of issues in this area and we've been working over the last few years to get them cleaned up, so I just want to thank him for that, for his help.
We will now go on to the 2022 annual appointments. As we know, there's a lot of room on committees, which nobody ever seems to want to get on. But we do have, everyone should have the list of them. Sarah?
Yeah. If I could, Mr. Mayor and Council, I know we do have some vacancies, and that does not prohibit us from appointing somebody in the middle of the year if we do have somebody come forward. So it's always important to keep, talking with our community members and see if we can find some interest later. But just we're not, there's no reason we can't appoint in February or June for something if it comes up. So it's really hard to just seem to get people interested. Maybe that will change if things in the pandemic start changing, I don't know, but just keep that in mind.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to say on this? If not, I would like to entertain someone to give us a motion to approve the annual appointments with the stipulation that if somebody does come up and say, like Sarah said, in February or June or whatever, we can still put them on.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will now have the open forum. If anyone wishes to speak about anything in the city, they can stand up to the podium, give their name and address, and let us know their concern. Okay, we'll move on to department reports. Police Department, Katie McMillan.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, first, I'll start off with you received the stat report for December of 2021. We had 348 calls. One thing to point out with December's is we had 40 ordinances. A couple of those were garbage ones, nuisance property complaints. Majority of them were sidewalks. Just a reminder to the public to keep their sidewalks clear of ice, snow, and debris for that ordinance. I also included in your packet the last 4 years of our stat reports, and as you can see is from 2020 we increased 433 calls last year from 2020, and it's been slowly increasing every year. There has been a steady increase in traffic enforcement, medicals, domestic assaults are up, and that's our dangerous calls that we respond to. Assist other agencies and disturbing the peace are the main ones that went up. Some decreases in DWIs and gun permits over the last few years. And accidents are remaining about the same. And then some other things. On December 13th, we had 20 kids come to Cocoa with a Cop. It was a good event. And February 17th is to mark your calendar for Fun with Police. And that will be here at City Hall. And then I've been working on updating our policy and procedure book and the emergency management plan. So that's what I've been working a lot in our office too. So, other than that, do you have any questions, concerns?
Any council members have a question for her?
Can I add?
Sarah?
I just wanted to bring to the council's attention, I spoke with our state rep a couple weeks ago, Mecklin, and there may be some discussion at the state legislature level about different policing policies, qualified immunity, those type of discussions. And I think it's just important that the council follow that and keep in mind of some of those policies and statewide changes or proposed changes that they're looking at making, just because that can affect our police department locally, police, sheriff, all those personnel that work in our public safety division. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. That is something that he mentioned to me when I talked with him a couple weeks ago. They'll start their session the end of January, so important for you to keep tabs on those discussions.
Okay, we'll move on to city engineer, Jared Griffin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of City Council. I do have one thing to update on today, is the industrial park project and the wetland discussion that we had last month. This week, our team is meeting with the county to hopefully nail down those delineations, and then put something together so we can meet with the temp board on Friday. So after that, we should have a better idea of what those delineations are, and get them to you by the January meeting, or the February meeting.
Sounds good.
And that is all I have, unless you have any more questions for me.
Anybody have any questions for him? We'll move on to Public Works and Fire, Mark Pattenfuss.
Mr. Mayor and Council, good evening. I don't have anything specific tonight. Plow snow and make ice is the two big things. That's been going well. The ice is getting pretty good, so we have it open now. I don't know if I have anything else specific on the public works side, if anyone has anything for me this evening.
Doing a good job.
Yep. Any questions for him?
Just
Nope.
on the fire side, the fire Santa parade went real good. We had a good showing, a good turnout of that. Good, all the members, and a lot of good comments, and Audio AVX from Wake Park donated pizzas for everyone afterwards, and one of the firefighters' grandpas donated the candy canes, so. Got that. Just one thing, we had the township meeting, we talked about the, was that at the last meeting, when Brian was here? We haven't had a relief meeting since then, so just wanna give you an update. The fire has a meeting tomorrow night, relief has a meeting after the fire meeting. I take it it'll be talked about then, so just wanna tell you where they're at with that. I can bring up, I'm sure Josh he's president of that. So, nothing new on that for you at this time. Contracts,
Do you want me to say?
you wanna talk on that, Sarah, on the Gilmanton one?
Okay. So we did, reach out to our city attorney on that proposed, or that question language on the fire contracts by, Gilmanton Township. His recommendation was, he doesn't think it should be removed. He would be open to discussing maybe a different type of language, but really what that language is intending to do is to protect the city in the instance that there is, as a result of a fire call in the township, if the city insurance is exhausted or liability is exhausted, then it rolls to the township. He said the instance of it happening, probably very unlikely, but he doesn't feel it's something that should be removed from the contract. So we did send that, response to Gilmanton Township and indicated, you know, we plan on leaving it in unless you'd like to discuss some revision, if your attorney would like to come up with an alternative that our attorney could look at. So that's where that is at. I'm hoping they'll discuss that at their town board meeting tonight.
I think too that they're interpreting more into this than what's being said there.
I agree.
You know, I read it several times, and it's not going overboard, it's kind of protecting you guys. Say something happens, you can't make it to the fire, whether it be a breakdown, an accident, whatever, they can't hold you liable for that, basically, what they're saying. And I think they're interpreting more into that, and I agree, we should not remove that. I think it's their safety precaution, and I don't think it's what they're sensing at this.
So we essentially kind of put it back in their court if they wanted to discuss a revision, but our attorney was not open to removing it completely. And you know, the city does have, we have insurance, we have, you know, a lot of, insurance that's specific because the nature of our business and what we do. So the attorney said, I don't think it would happen, but really there's a reason for it in there in case it does.
Yeah, I don't think we should remove it.
Other than that, I don't think anything else to the fire?
Did, you know, we had a discussion with the Relief Association last meeting. Did you guys go back and look at our
On
proposal?
the auditor fee?
On the audit.
That's why I say we'll discuss that tomorrow night at our relief meeting
Okay, so
after
you
our
haven't had
regular.
a meeting, okay.
Yep, tomorrow's our
Alright.
first meeting, we have a quarterly meeting tomorrow night.
Has any of the townships approved?
Yeah,
Several.
several have. Yep, I think we got like 5 or 6 already in.
And we've had no other questions on it.
Yeah. And I think that some of them will get approved, they're being approved right now, you know, this
Yeah,
week and so
I don't
forth.
think we have any phone calls on any of the townships.
No, and I think there's been a couple questions that you've talked to a few of them on, and there really wasn't any other concerns.
Good, if you're good. Thank you, sir.
Okay. We'll move on to administration. Sarah Braun.
The main item I wanna update you on is, regarding the police union. I had kinda communicated, we had the union, the prior union had decertified and recertified to a new union, which is LELS. That process is complete. That status is now in place. So we now move ahead with negotiation of a contract. I've just gotten some preliminary information from the union rep, and the steward and the union rep are working on that. I will be in contact with the personnel committee and then the council as this moves forward, but you know, we did express to them, you know, we've already adopted our budget. I think at this point we're really working towards just trying to get some framework in place. They've been very good to work with so far. We're hoping that we'll be able to get through this process fairly quickly. But everything comes back to the council for final approval. We'll work at the personnel committee level and then bring that forward. So you should see that in the next month or two, I'm guessing.
And how many officers does that constitute?
The union represents 3 full-time officers.
And we have,
We have 4. The supervisory position, the chief is not covered by the union.
4 other than the chief.
3 full-time non-union, or 3 full-time union, 1 non-union.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Why would that affect our budget?
Basically, we've adopted our budget, so if they were asking for any things that had a monetary effect on our budget, that would affect our budget, we would go over. Let's say they wanted X amount more in wages, we have budgeted this, that's where it would cause a, issue in what we have budgeted, and what we went to the levy for. So, we'll see how those discussions work out, but they do recognize that it's, the timing of it is after the approval of the 2022 budget.
Anything else? Anybody have any questions for her? We'll move on to old business and an update on the wastewater project.
So okay, just where we're at, we're almost to the end of that, waiting period. 60-day waiting period. We were supposed to have a connection meeting tomorrow, but really there's not much to discuss with St. Cloud, because we're basically awaiting certification. So as soon as that 60-day waiting period comes, our project should be certified, and then we prep for bids. Easements are almost all done. I think they're close to finalizing a few things. They're finalizing some of the details on the connection point at St. Cloud, but besides kind of those minor tweaks, that's where we're at. I think the biggest question at this point is when we bid, what that looks like for materials availability and timeline and costs, you know. So we don't have anything to present you at this point for as far as moving forward to bids, but we do anticipate that to come in the coming weeks. More information on that. The project will be bid online. Like we advertise, but then it's also you access the plans and so forth online, and Bolton and Mink handles all of that. So just like we do our other projects, city projects, that process will be facilitated through the engineer.
We are looking at moving the main lift station a little bit. That's in the past. We're having, working with Excel to get the best, to get power out there is costing a lot of money. So just if also you see some revisions there, but it's either, you know, we have to work with our existing parcel that we want to buy, the 52 acres, everything has to work together. So you might see something on that. It'd be for power purposes, you know, how we're gonna get it out. We need 3-phase. So we're right in the middle of the worst area, so either we should kick it this way or kick it that way. It doesn't matter where we go. So, might see that.
Sounds good. Any questions for him? We'll move on to new business. Any new business? Okay, at this time we will have a closed session. Everyone is, except the consuls, asked to stay and do our annual performance review of the city administrator.